Hello, this is Post Woke World. My name's Jennifer, and just wanted to talk about a few things. I haven't been on in a few days, and I'm sorry. The people that were here for my last live stream might have been a little worried because at the end there was a lot of commotion, and that was because my parents' dog was visiting, and there was a fight over food, and I had to break it up, and I ended up getting bit. So it was kind of scary, but I'm fine. I'll show you my hand in a minute. I just wanted to start the show by apologizing to anybody that was in the stream and heard that and was scared by it or worried or anything like that. I did post in the chat afterwards that I was okay, but um, I feel badly that people were, if they were traumatized by that, because it probably sounded pretty bad. Thankfully, it was not as bad as it sounded. So, yeah, it was very scary though. Don't want to dwell on it. So, moving past that for now. Just wanted to mention, we've been talking about parasocial relationships over here for a while. And one of the people that sort of described to you got me out of my funk or depression, which is a better word for it, was the Jess Machado show. I always enjoy listening to her. And I get it. She's not perfect. Sometimes she says something that's off putting or whatever. But who doesn't do that? Like, this is, for me, it's kind of like some things people say are definitely going to be something that's going to make me probably not like them again. But she's never done any of that. She just hasn't. And particularly in an online space like this, um, people do that type of thing all the time. So I just wanted to talk about these dysfunctional relationships and the dysfunctional people that are online, including me, by the way. You guys know my motto: I'm not better than you. You're not better than me, right? That's my motto. Okay. I will say hello to everybody in the chat after I get through a few points because you guys know how I am with my tangents. If I get distracted in chat, I will be off on some tangent for 20 minutes before I get back. So there's a few things I did want to get out today. And then I definitely want to say hi to everybody in chat because I missed you guys. Um, I wanted to talk about the online spaces and how there's definitely something about online spaces that attract and reward and even amplify narcissistic behavior and even antisocial behavior. Uh, I'd call it sociopathic behavior in some instances, but I'm not diagnosing anyone. Remember, this is my psychic. It came to me in a dream. Please don't get anybody's tits in an uproar over this. Um, but if you create a channel, whether you're a narcissist or not, you do enter in an attention economy, right? Like, people want to be entertained, and in order to gain their attention, you've got to be either really charismatic, have something unique, interesting to say. And when you don't have those things, well, things can sort of unfold and become, what's the thing Mark Twain says? All conversations eventually turn to sex and shit. I mean, that's what happens, when you're not coming online with an intention, with a purpose of what you're there for. Now, some people just do stream of consciousness type stuff, or like Jess, which I appreciate because we just love her. I love her personality. I think we all love her personality. A lot of us identify with her struggles, things she's been with, but I'll get into that in a minute. I just want to go through this quickly though. Just about in general, how like we all notice this, right? Like, the problem is people who have narcissistic traits, when they are online, it can amplify those things. And while they may not have been a narcissistically disordered person, an actual axis, what is it? Axis 2, or is it cluster B? I'm thinking of cluster B, but it's axis 2. I'm sorry. Anyway, the point I'm trying to make is it amplifies their narcissism. And then we have this effect, just like when we're in our cars, where this online disinhibition effect, where you see people who, I mean, are these people attorneys that say they're attorneys? Let's say they are, right? but they certainly don't behave like attorneys when they come into these chats. I mean, an example, I'm not going to name a name, but there are different attorneys in here that represent themselves. And I remember I went into Aiden's chat because I still supported the cause. I don't think he should go to jail, which, by the way, the guy will never go to jail. We can't even keep murderers in jail, for fuck's sake. You think they're going to keep Aiden Carney in jail? I don't think so. I don't think, even if he got convicted, he's not going to spend a day in jail. That's my opinion. But regardless, I still don't believe he should be convicted, right? And I'm going in there, and he's still somewhat entertaining, right? But the thing about it is, I went in his chat and I was saying some things, and I got attacked by people. Like, what are you doing here? You're a traitor, this and that. And nobody stops that kind of stuff. And so, I mean, I don't give a shit. I just said, I'll go wherever I want. You must be confused if you're trying to tell me what to, like, I don't, whatever. And then I just ignored it and told them I love them because that's how I felt about it. But like, he doesn't have the type of moderators in his chat that are going to police that kind of, so he allows you to get beat up and bullied in there, which is totally fine. But when he no longer has support, that's going to be the reason why. You know, he's no longer likable, in my opinion. That's just me, though. You guys, anybody can love him, whatever. But like now, people who are turtle riders, you'll know if you're in a cult if you get upset by the fact that I no longer find him likable. That's how you know you're in a cult, because that shouldn't bother you, realistically, that I don't think he's likable anymore. That should just be like, okay, cool, whatever. Because it's not a value judgment, right? I just don't like the way he behaves. I think that he behaves in a very narcissistic manner online. I'm not diagnosing him. And it's been amplified to the point where it's just crazy how this can happen. But anyway, let me go on because I do want to continue with this. Well, this is actually the point I wanted to make. Like some channels like his and others, and I don't want to just pick on him, but other people get like this too. They create these mini kingdoms, right? Where the person who runs the channel or the live stream is the center of some small social world. And it brings out controlling behavior, like you're with me or against me. You disagree, then you're a hater. My fans must defend me. I decide who's loyal. I can humiliate people publicly. I can reiterate what happened. And yeah, that feels cult-like. That's why people call it a cult. And then people get angry and laugh and say, we're not a cult. But it was the same thing with Trump. You know, I heard all kinds of shit over the years about presidents, Obama, Biden. Before Trump, I've heard all kinds of negative stuff. And then Trump comes along and you hear negative stuff. And some people had a cult-like mentality, meaning you can't say anything negative against my leader. That was a real thing, the Trump derangement. Is that really, I would call it it's a cult-like mentality. The person can't handle somebody saying something bad. That's how you know you're idolizing someone, by the way. You know you're putting someone up on a pedestal or idol when someone makes a criticism about them and you get mad at the person for making the criticism. Instead of saying, gee, is that true? Well, what are they saying? Let me see if I can look at that differently. And that happens a lot in these online communities. I'm not going to pinpoint just one, but it's one of those things that I think, I mean, it's cool and everything, but like, what are we, an internet gang? Are we gangs? We're like internet gangs, guys. We have internet gangs out here on the streets of YouTube, right? It's funny until you realize that some people actually get intimidated by this shit. Like real life fear develops in some of these people. Do you know there's some people that are so afraid they won't even say hello or say something in chat? That's not cool. I don't like that shit at all. That's why in my chat, I always tell you guys, like, you can have a different opinion. You could tell me I'm dumb for this or whatever, but like, just give the example. Explain why. Don't just throw out a bunch of bullshit and expect me to get on board with it. I can't fly that way. I'm very precise in the way that I analyze things, and it's really annoying probably to some people. I realize that at this point in my life. It can come across as argumentative. And I really struggled as to why am I like this? Why am I so, it has to be precise. And I think it's not because I want to dominate someone or tell them I'm smarter. It's because for me, fairness is really important. And being understood is very important. The understood part is probably because I was in a space for many years, in a bad space with someone where I was misunderstood. And I took that. That was what I took. But now I have this defensiveness about me that when I say something and I choose my words carefully and people twist them, I feel the need to correct them, right? We talked about this, Twitter wars and stuff like that. I don't do it online because it's not important to me online. Online is, I've been able to separate that. But I find that in interpersonal relationships, I do that sometimes. And that was a tangent, guys. Oh my Lord. Sorry about that. All right. Let's just move past that and get back to what I came here for. But yeah, I think it's a shame. And so my intention, I always tell you guys when I come online what my intention is, because I think that's important for me. And other people may or may not care about that. But the intention of me coming online today is, number one, to thank everyone that sent prayers and best wishes and was worried about me. Number two, to apologize for people that were afraid by what they heard at the end of my last live stream. It was pretty scary, I'm not going to lie, but I'm totally fine. It ended up okay. And then three, I just wanted to talk about, Jess Machado's back. And some of the actions that are going around here. And then I also want to talk about Patrick CLancy conspiracy, because that's just going to make my head pop off, guys. Like, are people trying to make my head pop off? I don't know. Maybe some of you think you did it. Let's talk about it. So here are just some questions I'm going to throw out. Okay. Just anybody can answer if they want. You always said you don't have to like them, but they won't. Oh, sorry. I just hit that by mistake, but I'm glad it's up there. Hi, Becky. Sorry. Let me undo this. Okay. Hey, guys. All right. So here's my hand. Okay. I don't want to. Oh, sorry. I should have given a trigger warning. Holy shit. Trigger warning. I got bit. Here's my hand. Okay. Here's the other side. Oh, I got a little fuzz on there. It was a thing, I was looking at it and I was like, wow, that reminds me of John O'Keefe's arm. Sorry, I couldn't resist. They stitched it up. It got so much worse the next day. I think she stitched it too tight. In the middle of the night, I don't do this at home, folks. I had to cut a couple, because when you get bit by a dog or a cat, you're not really supposed to sew it up. You're supposed to leave it mostly open. But she really sewed it too tight. It's whatever. So in the middle of the night, it was throbbing. So I had to cut a couple of stitches. And I was worried about compartment syndrome, honestly. But then it relieved. But it was so much worse because all the way down here, red, hot. It was bad. I had to go back. They gave me IV Unison, which where I used to work, we would always do an IV dose with a dog bite or cat bite, discharge augmentin. They didn't do that there. Now, I think that was not the standard of care. Anyway, moving on. Don't worry about this. It's fine. My dog did get bit. My parents' dog got bit. He had to go to the hospital, but he is also okay. And everything worked out good. And I don't want to talk about it too much because it still makes me really, really upset. So here are my questions. Here's one. Why did Arkansas Bestie go on Baker? Like that, I'm so confused by that. Like, I don't even understand. Like, I'm confused. So that's just a question I throw out. Does Baker realize that if he didn't talk about the flashlight and if he didn't unbox it and if he didn't like discuss like gifts to Jay, does he realize that if he didn't do that and continue to do it, that we would have never known about it? Did he know that? I'm not sure if he realizes that because he did that, that's why we know about it. I'm just curious if he knows that or not. What happened that turned Baker against J7? This is a burning question for me. Why did Baker turn against J7? Still don't understand that. He just blocked her. What else? Messy Jessie, where did she come from? Is she a boy or a girl? Why does she obsess over J7? Was she hired to agitate her? Just a question. I mean, it's probably not real, right? It's probably not, but I mean, it's just a question. And then what else? J7, we need to work on an Amazon wish list for the babies. Twins. She's having twins, so we need an Amazon wish list. Okay, here's another thing. These are all just random things I have to get out of my head. And then we're going to talk about Patrick CLancy and Lesser-MidRange Narcs. If you guys don't know about HD Tudor, you should. Why do people watch Baker? I'm really confused by that. Who's his crowd? Is it women? Is it American women? Is it Turtle Boy? Like, I don't understand it. I've tried to watch him. I don't find him entertaining at all. Is it his accent? Sometimes I feel like the accent just gets people. They think it's cool to know somebody with an accent or live in another country. I think that's a thing. Maybe I'm wrong. Oh, and then what does Baker know? Because Baker's the only person that I know of that Turtle Boy's ever apologized to after they were nasty to him. That was crazy. So I feel like Baker knows something. Maybe not. They keep talking about J7's victims. Who are her victims? They talk about Jess Machado's victims. Who are these victims? Who are these people? I'm just curious. Like, examples. Can they give examples? I don't think they can. I also never got the joke about the repo. Remember how Jess Machado had her car repoed, right? And she was smart enough or clever enough to not get it repoed because it sucks when you get your car repoed. I've never had it done, but I know people have had it done. And when it happens, sometimes you can lose a lot of money. And people seem to think this made her a bad person. And I'm still struggling with that. I'm struggling with the fact that people want to make her a bad person because her car got repoed. So what you're saying is because somebody doesn't have enough money to make a car payment because something went wrong in their life, which you have no idea what, that makes them a shitty person. I actually think it's awesome that she got one over on the man. I'm the type of person that's like I'd much rather the little man get over on the corporations. The corporations fuck us over on a daily basis. If she can get her car back and knows how to do that without getting fucked over more, she's my hero. So the people that think that's a shitty thing, okay, slaves, that's how I look at you. Okay, slaves, you like to pay taxes, don't you? You're probably the people that got mad at Donald Trump because he didn't pay any taxes. Love him or hate him, that's the law. If you can use the law to your advantage, why wouldn't you? Especially against the government. Are you kidding me? I don't understand that. Sorry. I had to go off on that for a second. I'm just saying. That was funny to me. I never got that one. Never. I can think of a lot of things that make a person a bad person or a shitty person, and their car getting repoed is not one of them. It's not on my list. Nowhere on my list does it say your car got repoed, therefore you're a piece of shit. Nowhere. Is that on anybody's list? I'm just curious. Why is that on people's list? Oh, I'm sorry. You never had somebody die. You never lost your job. You never struggled a day in your life. So you think it makes her a shitty person? Okay. Ray from Dallas. This one really blew my mind. Really blew my mind. Okay. Because I thought Ray from Dallas ran his own shit. I was not under any impression that Ray from Dallas answered to anyone. Okay. And maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm wrong. Oh, and by the way, I did a video in support of Ray for Dallas. You can go look it up because it's there. In support of Ray for Dallas, when all of those accusations were being made at him, I made a video in support of him. I didn't get a lot of views. It's okay. It doesn't matter. I felt the need to do that, to speak out on his behalf. Because what Nan and those people did to him was shitty. Okay? It was shitty. And as cool as JFK is or whatever, I think he somehow facilitated that shit. So to me, the whole thing is shitty and I don't like it. That's just my opinion. It doesn't mean people have to do whatever. But the point I'm trying to make here is Turtle Boy was going to go on JFK, which would be good for him. I don't really care what he does. I'm just saying it would be good for his image. Turtle Boy doesn't know what the fuck is good for his image. He needs somebody to tell him. He don't have to listen to me, but somebody that cares about the man should tell him how to make his image better because it's getting worse by the day. And it's becoming very clear that there's some kind of, it's crazy that these grown-ass men follow order. The only way they do that is because they're keeping each other's secrets. That's the only way that shit works. Let me just get back to it. Because this is blowing my mind. And I don't usually talk about this stuff. I can't understand this, okay? It's like blowing my mind. So Baker, okay, and we'll get into the lesser and mid-range narcissist because we'll explain that in a minute. But Baker was upset and went off on Turtle Boy because he was going to maybe hook up with JFK. And he loses his shit. And so Turtle Boy apologizes, which was wow. Okay. Wow. He apologized. And he didn't really that was crazy to me. Right. So I'm like, okay, that's weird, but okay. And then J7 was going to go on Raid for Dallas and I saw it was canceled. And I'm like, oh, why did she, in my mind, I'm like, why did she cancel it? Maybe something came up or whatever. But then I later find out, and correct me if I'm wrong, but this is what I heard. I later find out that he canceled it. Ray from Dallas canceled it because of his chat, because his chat got on him. And that really blew my mind because I thought Ray for Dallas stood on business. I didn't understand that he was going to let his chat or some other people influence him to not ask questions because we know he asks the tough questions. And this is just like when Milo Yiannopoulos or the woman who doesn't like guys competing against her in the swim pool just because they put a wig on or cup their balls. It's just like those people being thrown out of colleges. You can't talk to us. Please, Milo Yiannopoulos, don't say a fucking word. I'm gonna die if you speak. That's what we're dealing with here. People who need their safe spaces. God forbid J7 speaks to Ray from Dallas. People will die. Didn't you know that? I mean, this is what we're seeing, right? This is how these people act. And Ray from Dallas shocked me by genuinely canceling it. I'm like, wow, okay. Anyway. This blows my mind. A state representative in Massachusetts, okay, paid somebody money to, quote, take her out with regards to Jess Machado. That blows my mind. I'm like, what? Imagine being Jess Machado. People hate her, right? We see the pile on. Even like famous comedians like Jolene Lenzer shit on her, right? Maybe she'll shit on me next because I'm talking. I don't really care. The point I'm trying to make is Jess has so many haters because, it's like Howard Stern. You know what I mean? It's like, but then she has people that like her, like us, right? Or me. I'll speak for myself. But like a lot of people like her, After all that pile on online, you then find out that a government elected employee, a government fucking state representative in the state you live in paid somebody money to, quote, take you out. Are you kidding me? That's really fucked up. I mean, that is some seriously fucked up shit. Okay? So let's remember too, Jess told us she had trouble with the law over some reporting she did. It's why she supported Turtle Boy. Look at how effective she is. She's a freaking state representative paying people to, quote, take her out. Sounds like a threat to me. Also sounds like if she lost income based on anything they did, that she could recoup that. Does she see the government or the state representative? I would do both. Fuck it. I'd do all of them. I'd sue all of them if I was her. The state representative, the government. Did he use government time to make those orders? I'm just curious. Was he on the clock in his office using his government email to request other government people to, quote, take her out? Are you fucking kidding me? All right, moving on from that one. Next thing that blew my mind, super excited. Netflix. She got contacted because of her work on the Jacob Pothier case. And a law got enacted because of the work she did. You can't take that away from her. You can try, but a fact's a fact. A production company contacted her, signed a contract with her, and whether it happens or not, just like if Aiden's happens or not, she potentially has a documentary coming up on Netflix. Can't take that away from her. All the people that hate her. What are you going to do now? What are you going to say now? I don't really care what you say. I don't listen to you, but I know a lot of people do. I don't understand those people. What is their IQ that listen to these people and believe this shit? I want them to take an IQ test. All right, hold on 1 second. Don't worry, no dogs are going to bite me. Hold on 1 second. What's going on, guys? I'm on a lot. All right. So, all right, moving past that. So HG Tudor, okay? HG Tudor he calls himself the Ultra, all right? There's this, we're going to talk about narcissism now. I know everybody's like, oh my God, everybody talks about narcissism. I'm done. It's fine. If you don't want to hear it, it's okay. You don't have to listen to it. But I'm going to talk about it because I think it's interesting. And I want to just discuss the different levels of narcissism. I found HG Tudor, I'm going to say about, about 3 years ago, 3.5 years ago. It was the only person that I listened to that helped me make a change in a really toxic relationship. And it gave me the strength to make it wasn't the first time I broke up. It was probably the second time I broke up. When you're in these bad relationships, you don't just break up. You need like 3 or 4 breakups. It takes a long time. I don't want to get into that right now, but he was the one, HG Tudor was the one, listening to him, and I paid for some of his stuff, that really helped me understand what narcissists are. And it helped me see it clearly. And I highly recommend his work to anybody that's struggling in any type of abusive relationship. And he even gives you consults to tell you if the person you're dealing with is a narcissist or not. I didn't need the consult. I could figure it out after he gave me the guidelines. But I wanted to talk about what he does. He calls himself the Ultra because he's the best, right? Yeah, his book, his channel is, I'm going to write it for you here. Now, when you first go to his channel on YouTube, there's a lot of stuff about Markle. What's her name? Oh my God. Meghan Markle. There's a lot of stuff about Meghan Markle. In my opinion, he's probably being paid to like shit on her, but he loves it because, you know, he's a narcissist. He's a narcissist himself. HG Tudor tells you he is the, quote, Ultra. There's no higher narcissist than him. He's hilarious, right? But regardless, right now he's dogging on Megan, but he picks different social figures to to like dissect and let you know if he thinks they're a narcissist or an empath, or it's very interesting stuff. So you can learn a lot. And he's not a psychologist, and his knowledge comes from his lived experience. And he won't tell you his real name. And a lot of people in the field know him. And in fact, there's a new movie that came out recently called, which I haven't watched yet, but I need to soon. It's called the Narcissist Playbook, and it helps expose who these people really are, because people who aren't narcissistic tend to give people the benefit of the doubt over and over and over again, and keep trying to collaborate and collaborate and collaborate, and they don't realize that that person that's the narcissist doesn't want to do that. They're just there to manipulate and overcome you. That's it. It's a different game you play when you play the game with the narcissist, not the same game. One of you is playing a game that the other one is completely unaware of. That's what happens. So I'll just read you a couple of his definitions, just to give you an idea of how he breaks narcissists down. And then, like I said, you can go check his channel out, and I think it's worth checking out. So what he does is he breaks down narcissism into certain schools, right? So you've got the lesser narcissist, the mid-range, and then the greater narcissist, and then the ultra, right? And so he also does a video, one of the first videos on his channel. He explains why he does this. You know what I mean? Like, he tells you flat out. So he talks about, for example, this is how he describes what he calls a lesser narcissist. And I'm not going to go into all the details, but I just want you to hear it and then see if it reminds you of any creator. Now, I'm not diagnosing anyone with narcissism, but we already talked about how online behavior can amplify narcissism and antisocial behavior. And that's why people act like dicks to each other. It's that, and there are also some people are just, they have very poor coping skills, right? So here's the lesser narcissist. They're openly aggressive. They have poor impulse control. They're less sophisticated with manipulation. They more likely use intimidation, shouting, physical presence, threats, or overt dominance. Less able to maintain a polished social facade, less self-aware, and reacts quickly when challenged. That's the lesser narcissist, okay? Now, if you think about the lesser narcissist, these are the people who use, I would probably say most physical abusers are lesser narcissists. They try to intimidate by their size, by their loudness, by their, just by their simple presence. You know who these people are. I'm not even talking about online anymore. You've met these people, okay? They can be men or women. It could be either one. But these are the people that react quickly. Okay. They can't control their impulses, and they will continue to try to dominate in any domain by just being louder and nastier and threatening. They're not very socially adept. They don't have very good social skills. That's why they're easy to see. I could name one right now, but I'm not going to. You guys can think on your own about that. Sorry. All right. And then here's all fucked up. So then we have, and then he breaks down the lessers into like the lower lesser, the mid lesser, the upper lesser. All right. So that's the lesser narcissist. Then we move into the mid-range narcissist. Do you recognize this person? HG says these are like the most common, and they're harder to spot, these mid-rangers. They're the more passive aggressive. They often play the victim. They often use guilt, pity, sulking, silent treatments. My favorite, triangulation. Don't you love being triangulated? It's just so much fun. Withdrawal. They can appear kind, moral, sensitive, anxious, wounded, or misunderstood. They often have a very strong, quote, good person facade. I think we know what we're talking about right now. Less openly brutal than a lesser, not usually self-aware though. They actually believe this. Their manipulations may look calculating according to H.G. Tudor, but generally they're all instinct. That blew my mind because I've dealt with a ton of mid-range narcissists in my life, and I've been married to one. I think my first husband was probably just a straight up sociopath. No, my second husband was also a sociopath. He was a mid-range narcissist for sure because he loved to play the victim. Oh my God, he loved to play the victim. Poor him. And I used to think, well, do they know they're doing that? Do they know they're doing that? And then I realized, you know what? When I'm on the floor and I feel like I'm dying, does it really matter if he knows he's doing it or if he's instinctively doing it? Does it really matter at that point? And you suddenly wake up and you realize, nah, it doesn't fucking matter. If they're doing it on purpose and they know it, or if it's just their instinct because that's the way they were born. The result is the same. I'm on the floor and I feel like I'm dying again. You get to that point. It took me 7 fucking years, but I got to that point. So that's why when I see this kind of behavior online, it's very easy to spot. And I'm not the only person that's been through this shit. A lot of people in my chat have shared with me. People have emailed me and told me. So I know I'm not the only person. That's why you guys probably resonate with Jess and resonate with this perspective, because I know there's other perspectives and they think they're just as valid as we think we are. I just can't roll with that one. Let's just talk a little bit more about the mid-rangers. And don't worry, we're going to talk about Patrick CLancy. The lower mid-range narcissist is often more depressive. They're bitter. They're victim-like. They're sulky. Do you guys know any sulky boys online? We call them the sad boy grifters. Hallelujah. You know that song. They love to rely on guilt shaming, blame shifting, poor me behavior. They love that shit. They often have a nice guy or nice girl facade. They're socially pleasant. They seem helpful, respectable, community-minded. But behind closed doors, there's something completely different. They're emotionally withholding. They're manipulative. They're invalidating. The more polished, the most polished of the mid-rangers, they're typically successful people. You know, they have good jobs. They're able to put on a good front in society, you know. They don't just pop off and start calling you a cunt because you don't like their friend Baker. You know, the upper mid-range is not going to call you a cunt. Yeah, I say the English version, cunt. They don't say it like we do. I prefer the English version, cunt. So I wouldn't call you a cunt just because you didn't like Baker. Do you know what I mean? Like, why would you? That's what a lesser narcissist would do, right? But the upper mid-range, they would never call you a cunt. Oh, no. They're much more conniving and manipulative. These fuckers will kill you if you let them close to you. They're more polished. They're intelligent. They're successful. They're socially adept, controlled. These fuckers are charismatic. This one almost killed me. They use contempt, plausible deniability, intellectualization, and social reputation. Like, my whole family are ministers. My mom's a minister. I can quote scripture. I know you're not as religious as me, or you don't understand this concept because you're not as religious as I am, or, that kind of stuff. Makes you feel really warm and fuzzy inside, like you're so safe around this, that kind of stuff. But the mid-ranger at the end of the day, they're always going to be, I'm the victim, I'm the good person, you're being unfair to me. That's the mid-ranger. Now, the greater narcissists are really scary. Those are the ones that are like self-aware, deliberate. They deliberately manipulate. They have really good impulse control. They're very charismatic, strategic. They can maintain all kinds of complex social. These people are like top tier. These are the people that are running the country. These are the CEOs of all the major corporations. These are them. They are the greater narcissist. Okay. I have not dated one of these people, and nor would I want to, because they probably are the worst kind. Because they are aware and they are deliberate and they do things very strategically. Sorry, I have something on my hat here. So, they're not going to, those are the ones, they're not going to collapse into self-pity and the poor me. That's how you know the difference between a lower or a lesser and a mid-range narcissist. Because they're not going to do the poor me stuff. They don't do it. They're the most aware of all the narcissists, he called them. So they're the chess players. That's what he calls them. And then HG is obviously the ultra. Nobody's above him. He's the one that explains all this to us and everything else. So anyway, I just wanted to go through that a little bit because I think it's interesting. I think we see some of that. I'm not diagnosing anyone. Don't anyone get their tits in an uproar over it. This is just my psychic. See my disclaimer. Okay. So anyway, moving on. Let me say hi to everybody in the chat, and then we'll talk about Patrick CLancy because this stuff is crazy. All right, let me take down HG. HG. I gotta find it. All right, you know what? Let me just say hi. Okay, Frankie, nice to see you. So nice. I'm glad you're here, Frankie. Becky, thanks, Doc Terry, my mod, my awesome mod. You guys are awesome. Freeze frame. Betty Boop. Cakes. Thank Crystal, Coco, Simi, Yummy, Capama. Thanks for being here, guys. Really appreciate it. So let's see. There was something up here about Patrick CLancy that I saw. Yeah, it's ridiculous, right? The gangs of men. It's like, what are these guys? You know what? This is the best for me. Like, it's kind of like they're lesser narcissists. They're mid-range, lesser mid-range. That's the other cool thing. Like, if you learn HG's language, you can insult narcissists. I feel like you're just a lesser. You're a lower mid-range narcissist. Keep trying, buddy. You're never going to be an ultra or even a greater narcissist. These are how I can tell. I mean, it's a fucked up thing, but you really can start to do that. Yeah, I agree. I agree with this. Oh, I don't know who this is. No, I don't know who that is. Patrick may or may not be guilty. Jury's still out, but I do believe defense attorney doing a great job to sow the seeds of doubt. Yeah, absolutely. I agree. Yeah, so the Patrick thing, okay? Now here's the thing. I have to say, I am, first of all, I'm Gen X. And so I think this could be wrong, right? I don't know. But Gen X to me is the generation of conspiracy theory. Right, exactly. That's what I'm talking about right here. That's what I'm saying. Like, look at you. Look at you, you lesser narcissist. Look at you, you mid-range narc. You can't even be a greater narc. You're just a mid-ranger. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's fucked up, but it's true. All right, so let's talk about this. All right. I want to separate this into different things because Gen X, I'm a Gen Xer, and maybe it's just me and I'm saying this, but I feel like Gen Xer, we're the question authority generation. We're the generation that's like, fuck the police, right? I mean, that was, I think, we're also the generation of conspiracy theories. Okay. Like, we are the ones that are going to ask all the questions because we're the ones that were like, history doesn't make sense. Like, that was us. That's my opinion. And so I respect and appreciate all of the conspiracy theorists online talking about Patrick CLancy. And in another reality, I perhaps would agree with everything you're saying. However, on this side of things, which is where I don't believe he has anything to do with it, I can now see why some people get annoyed with conspiracies that aren't proven. So I can see both sides, and I'm not annoyed with anybody, but I will tell you, for me, that this case is about mental health and women who are postpartum, who need help, who need to be heard. And it's not just women, and it's not just postpartum. That's where we're focusing right now. But this case, I hope that the Patrick stuff, because that's the only place I see the Patrick's, a lot of the place I see the Patrick stuff. I'm not going to say the only. There are people on YouTube, there are Instagram, even fucking Vinny Politan disappointed me with entertaining it. I don't know what he said. I didn't watch it, but he said something about Patrick. The thing about it is, in my opinion, it's fine. Talk about all you want, but it's distracting from what I think is a much more important issue, which is the mental health. The mental health here, the failure of the system here, the fact that you walk into a psych hospital and ask them for help, you were referred there by two mental health people, and that hospital tells you, we can't take you, you don't qualify because you're on too many medicines from the people who you referred us to. And then they don't even bother to connect to help you on your next step. They just kind of leave you by the door. This happens all the time, but it happened to her repeatedly. Now, I think that Patrick is suspicious to people because he remarried already, and his new wife, yes, she looks just like fucking Lindsay CLancy. It's fucking weird. I can't deny that. She's also a medical professional, just like Lindsay was, only she's a doctor in fertility, right? That's a fact. I've seen all kinds of other things online that, like, I can get why people go down the road. They're like, oh, here's something on, I don't know, whatever it was. What was it I saw? I have family members that are convinced he's involved, and it's like, I can't get mad at them when I've been like, I believed in some of the craziest conspiracy theories that have actually come true. So, like, I can't, when people have an opinion about it, I can't be like, oh, you're a horrible like, I'm not in that camp at all. I think you should have whatever opinion you want, because whether or not you voice it, you still have the question. So I think it's better people just ask it, right? I don't have a problem with that. It doesn't make me mad. I said it makes my head pop off. It really doesn't. It's more like, for me, Lindsay, first of all, Lindsay admitted she did it. Okay, now I get people saying she said she saw someone that looked like her did it. So now their theory is that this other woman who's a doctor, beautiful, probably makes tons of money, lives in Manhattan, wanted Patrick CLancy so bad that he and her in cahoots. They've been together 3 years, but he had another baby anyway, just so that she could kill more of the babies. She's the one who actually went there and did it. Like, it doesn't make any sense, guys. Let's just use logic. Do you think that Kevin Reddington didn't, like, ask all these questions to Patrick? Like, dude, you got remarried? dude, she looks like you're at, what's going on, dude? How long were you fucking around? Like, do we think he didn't do any of that? Or her family? I don't know. Maybe they didn't. I don't know. But the bottom line is Lindsay already stipulated, yes, I did this. I did this. She already said it. She wants to die every day of her life, you know. I don't know if you guys realize that. All the people that hate her and want her dead, you feel the same way she does. She wants to be dead too. So, you know, if that makes you feel better, you know what I'm saying? That makes you feel better that Lindsay CLancy wants to die every day. You know what I mean? So this is the other thing I wanted to read you. For all the people that talk about Patrick and how he didn't cry at all when the testimony was going. And I will say I went back and I watched Patrick testify because so many people don't like Patrick now. Like so many people are like, this guy's, you know, he planned it. He hates her, like blah, 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 blah. Right. And I'm just like, okay, like that, you know, let me see. Let me go back and watch this. Right. And this is just my opinion. You don't have to agree with it. But in my opinion, Patrick didn't cry because he was not going to give that bitch prosecutor the satisfaction. Like the fact that he even has to come in and testify about this doesn't make any sense. Because they already stipulated she did it. He is just being brought in to tug at the heartstrings of the jurors, just like his father was, just like the babysitter was, so she could show the picture of him drinking a bottle. It's all emotional manipulation by the prosecution because they don't have a case. I mean, that is their case. I shouldn't say they don't have it. I don't even understand why they prosecute. Regardless, okay? This was my read on Patrick. Patrick did the best he could. He's breathing techniques so that he didn't get upset or crying or angry. He probably wanted to kick the bitch in the face because that's how I felt when I was listening to her. And there were certain times he got a little bit angry. And I don't think he wanted to give anybody the satisfaction of his tears because he does not want to be on public display. He had the most horrific fucking thing happen to him in his life. So no, he's not going to dance like a monkey and cry tears for everybody so they feel good about it. That's my impression. This was Patrick's full statement on his GoFundMe page. Thank you for all your love and support. The warmth I've received from the community is palpable, and your generosity gives me hope that I can focus on. Just move that a lot, so that I can focus on some sort of healing. I've seen all of your messages and contributions, including some from people I haven't seen in over a decade, and many I've never met. I see and appreciate every one of you. A lot of people have said they can't imagine, and they're right. There's absolutely nothing that can prepare you. The shock and pain is excruciating and relentless. I'm constantly reminded of them, and with the little sleep I get, I dream about them on repeat. Any parent knows it's impossible to understand how much you will love your kids until you have them. The same goes for understanding the devastation of losing them. Cora, Dawson, and Callan were the essence of my life, and I'm completely lost without them. My family was the best thing that ever happened to me. I took so much pride in being Lindsay's husband and a dad to Cora, Dawson, and Callan. I always reminded myself that each day with them was a new gift. Callan usually woke up first and would rest his head on my shoulder for a few minutes as he adjusted to morning. Dawson typically sang or spoke his thoughts out loud for a while before we'd go get him. Cora was a big girl and would simply walk downstairs. I can still vividly picture her coming into the living room each morning with her hair in a mess, smile on her face. We always started our days together, reading books, cuddling up on the couch, and playing with magnet tiles. I loved taking them places, whether it was scooting at Chandler Elementary, vacation, skiing, out on the boat, or to Duxbury Beach, one of our favorite places on earth. They gave me purpose, and I never took it for granted. There is now a massive void where that purpose once was. Cora had an infectious laugh. It was stunningly beautiful. She was the cautious one, but it was really because she was so caring. She used to say she wanted to be a doctor and a mama when she grew up, and she would practice by giving Callan checkups. If she was leaving the house to go somewhere, she would pick someone to take care of Caroline and Charlotte, her baby dolls. She had all the doll accessories available, so her sitters were well equipped. Before turned two, she was already wrapping them in perfect swaddles. We would tell her she's such a good little mama. She loved all babies, both real and pretend. She loved sloth, unicorns, tea parties, going to lunch with Nana and Grandpa, and giving presents to people. She knew everything about princesses, her favorite being Sophia the First. She truly loved her brothers and us and said it often in her sweet voice. We did a lot of father-daughter activities together, like skiing and visiting San Francisco or just talking. I loved her, my firstborn, so much. Dawson had a beautiful, bold, brown eyes that beamed with friendship. He was naturally humorous and generous, beyond the norm of a typical toddler, always willing to share his toys with others. For all the love he received, he always gave back more. His best quality was his pure kindness. He loved trucks, tractors, dinosaurs, Paw Patrol, worker guys, and being outside. He was adventurous and mischievous and enjoyed causing trouble, which he typically found hilarious. He was also remarkably smart. We always said if we didn't save enough for retirement, it'll be okay. We'll just live in Dawson's guest house. He would hug me tighter than most adults, and every night he told me in consistent words at bedtime without fail, "Good night, Dada. I love you." We had a special bond from day one. He was my buddy, my first boy, and a true gift. Callan was our easygoing child. I always said it was because he was the third child. He had to adapt, and he did easily. He was born with hardly any fuss and was by far our best sleeper. He was an incredibly happy and vibrant baby, constantly smiling. Our nickname for him was Happy Callan. He was sitting on his own, and you could tell he was enjoying his growing independence as he would grab any object within reach. Sometimes he joined my Microsoft calls in the background, playing in his jumpy. I would keep my camera on, too proud to leave it off. He started saying Dada whenever I walked in the room. The last moment we had together was our routine. I would come up from my office at the end of the day and swing him between my legs while he laughed and smiled. If I was ever having a bad day, Callan always knew how to heal me. Perhaps that's why he held on a little longer, to spare me whatever pain he could. As excruciating as it was, I was fortunate and grateful to feel his warmth until his very last moment. Faith is my only hope of believing he felt mine. Callan died with enormous courage, despite being so little. Maybe it was his way of demonstrating what I need to do to press forward. I'll always try to draw inspiration from him. He'll always be my little hero. I would like to share some thoughts about Lindsay. She's recently been portrayed largely by people who have never met her and never knew who the real Lindsay was. Our marriage was wonderful and diametrically grew stronger as her condition rapidly worsened. I took as much pride in being her husband as I did in being a father and felt persistently lucky to have her in my life. I still remember the very moment I first laid eyes on her and can recall how overcome I was with the kind of love at first sight you only see in movies. It really didn't take long before I was certain I wanted to marry her. We said I love you to each other multiple times daily, as if it were a reflex. We habitually started every morning with a hug, yielding a sigh of relief, like we had each received the perfect medicine. If too much time passed without a hug, she'd look at me and say, "Did you forget?" We mutually understood the reality that people can have bad days, but we stuck to the rule that one of us got lost, the other was always there to bring them home. Always. She loved being a nurse, but nothing matched her intense love for our kids and dedication to being a mother. It was all she ever wanted. Her passion taught me how to be a better father. I want to ask all of you that you find it deep within yourselves to forgive Lindsay as I have. The real Lindsay was generously loving and caring towards everyone. Me, our kids, family, friends, and her patients. The very fibers of her soul are loving. All I wish for her now is that she can somehow find peace. I promise I'll put all my energy into healing and rediscovering my purpose. I owe that to all of you, to the Duxbury Fire and Police, our compassionate healthcare workers, our local faith leaders, and the Microsoft community, but especially for Cora, Dawson, and Callan. I don't know how or when I'll be able to do it, but your love and generosity will help me get started, and I know that love always wins. Cora, Dawson, and Callan, you gave me so much in your short time here. I don't know if the pain will ever go away, but I'll do my best to carry on in your honor. Dada loves you so much, and I'll always remember you. So, you can say, wow, that shows what a loving, caring man is, or some of you may say, wow, he's full of shit. That's for you to decide. For me, I think that the biggest, if nothing else, okay, I think the most important piece of evidence that shows that Lindsay did this is the way that she tried to kill herself. And I think that a lot of people don't understand that. I think a lot of people still don't understand how Lindsay CLancy tried to kill herself. And I don't think they understand why she's paralyzed or that she is in fact paralyzed. I'm not sure. Do you guys, how about I'll ask you guys, do you guys know? Let me ask this. I want to ask the right question. Hold on. Let me find it because I wrote it somewhere. Because I'm curious. And you guys might know. Do you guys know why Lindsay CLancy is paralyzed? All right. So I'll just tell you, okay? So Lindsay CLancy, the reason she's paralyzed is the way that she tried to kill herself. Yes, she dived out the window. It was 15 feet, but close, very close. Puccini, thanks for being here. Her spine did sever. So when she jumped out the window, the state tried to allege, hold on, I'm going to take this off. Sorry, guys. The state tried to allege, okay, with their bullshit, they tried to allege that she haphazardly like jumped out the window. Maybe she even held on. That was that whole transfer bit they did about how there was transfer on the outside of the window. But K-Red helped us realize that no, it wasn't about her hanging outside the window like this. It was about her looking over the window before she did what? She went like this, guys. Boom, and dove right out the fucking window. Okay, that's what she did. She head dove out the window. I would bet $1 million that Lindsay CLancy head dove out the window. That's how certain I am that she head dove out the window. She did not fall. She was not pushed. Some woman that looks like her and is in love with Patrick did not come there and position her in a way that she could dive out the window. That didn't happen. Patrick did not push her in a way that she would dive and land on her fucking head. It's not possible, guys. It is not. The only person that did that caused that is Lindsay. It can't be anybody else. It doesn't work that way. The reason it doesn't work that way is because the mechanism of injury, because of her injuries, you can then backward engineer it and decide how the injury was caused. This is what we do in medicine all the time. I'm not a pathologist, but as a PA, there were many times people would come in. Sometimes in the ER, people can't fucking talk or they're intubated. And you just get a story like Puccini says, fell out 20 feet. That's a trauma. That's already a trauma because of the distance. I think it's above 15. So, 12 is still high. You don't have to dive head first from that high of a thing. You can dive from ground level into a shallow pool and you're going to get an injury like Patrick CLancy. The difference is you're not going to have your T5 and T6 transect. That's not going to happen. That came from the added feet. So my argument to anybody who thinks that Patrick killed her or some other lady killed her that looks like her for some bizarre reason is that even if you think they did that to the kids, she killed herself by jumping out the window and dove. There's no way you can, there's nothing you can get around with that. You can't get around it. You can't. And I cannot wait for the state to try to get around that. They're not going to be able to get a medical professional to say that anything other than what I just said. Not one with integrity. That's why Dr. LaPosado is stepping up. Dr. LaPosado from the Karen Reed trial is going to be here. And she is going to tell you exactly how Lindsay CLancy tried to kill herself out that window. And she's going to tell you exactly what I'm telling you right now. It's going to be a Jefferson fracture, the C1 burst because she did a head dive, and she got extra fucked up because of the angle she landed and the pressure. It's not pressure. What would be the best word? The transfer of that energy when she goes. It's physics again, right? And I'm not good at physics, so I'm not going to say that. She dives. She lands on her head. She fractures the base of her skull. Her C1 bursts, okay? And then that pressure moves up, and in the middle of the back, which is T5, right? T5 is like right up about here. T5 and T6, they shred apart because of the pressure. That's like, if she had died, the cause of death, they would, if they had to suspect how it happened, it would be suicide by diving, like suicide by jumping head first. She didn't die though. I don't know if she remembers how she did it, but the evidence showed. Sometimes you don't need the person to say anything. You just look at the evidence and it's you can't argue with certain shit. You can't argue with the fact that this woman tried to kill herself by literally diving out the fucking window. So that's my piece on that, That's my piece on that. I didn't hear the 911 call, but I heard it was pretty horrific. And so people who think Patrick did it or Patrick hired somebody to do it or Patrick and his new wife did it or whatever, we've all heard 911 calls that sound like bullshit, right? Like I've heard some 911 calls and I'm just like, this person is so full of shit. And then you later find out that like they did it, Usually the husband is the first person they're going to look at in something like this. So I imagine it is Massachusetts, right? But I imagine they're going to look into it. And I'm sure Kevin Reddington did. I agree. There's some strange things about him. I 100% agree. I'm not going to deny that. Like I said, I'm a conspiracy theorist at heart. But I think she did this. I mean, I think she said she did it and she did do it, And whatever's going on with Patrick, I'm not entirely sure. But I personally don't have enough evidence. There's a lot of conjecture. There's a lot of this. There's a lot of that. And it's like makes a great, crazy story. Could it be true? Yeah. But in my opinion, it's like 99% not likely, And honestly, what I'm most interested in, because the kids are dead, right? They're dead. We can't bring them back. And that makes me sad. And I don't even want to think about that. Honestly, I don't think about that a lot in this trial, because for me, justice in this case is making sure that people see how broken the healthcare system is, because this is real life. You think this is an exception? It's not. This is the rule in healthcare. It's the rule. And it's hit or miss if you get somebody who cares enough to do what they're supposed to do. Peter Trago said it, and I'll repeat it. He said, standard of care does not mean it's ethical treatment. Just because it's standard of care does not mean it's an ethical treatment. He's 100% right. That psychiatrist did everything she was trained to do, Dr. Tufts. But if you notice, she didn't help her at all. In fact, she may have triggered her to kill herself unknowingly. Because here you have this perfectly trained psychiatrist who looks like you. She's white, you're white. You both are in like an upper class kind of area, or, you're both intelligent. You're in all these things. And you're at the best hospital for psych, and she can't help you. What are you doing? What are you supposed to do? And there's this misconception that psychosis is something that happens and then stays there or something. And that confuses me, because I'm like, that's not what psychosis is. I mean, psychosis is episodic. People have episodes of psychosis, right? Sometimes they only have one psychotic episode in their entire life, if they're lucky. Other people have multiple psychotic episodes. Some people are always psychotic, like schizophrenia. But I feel like the amount of hate that Lindsay CLancy gets tells me that there's a big portion of the population that has never dealt with mental health in their life or in their family. That's the only explanation I can have for these people. Honestly, I don't have any other explanation for someone who was going to come on and talk about. Have you guys seen I went over the comment section in one of my other videos. Go in the comments section under Law and Order, or whatever it's called, Law and Crime, whatever the fuck. Look at some of the things people say. I mean, these people are like, it's shocking to me. But I think to myself, well, I guess you've never once experienced mental health at all for yourself or anybody in your life. Because if you had, you would not be saying the nasty shit you're saying right now. Because you would understand that just how real this is. Ever had a panic attack? Panic attacks are scary. I've had plenty in my life. I only recently learned how to like talk myself out of it. Sometimes you have to take medication to help calm you down. Benadryl works sometimes. I'm not advocating that. I'm not diagnosing, treating. This is my psychic. I'm just saying, like, this woman went to the doctor how many times? And if they all look at their notes, they can feel, oh, I checked this box off. Nope, she didn't have a plan. Nope. P.S. Little secret. You don't have a fucking plan. You don't have to have a fucking plan. I'm just going to say it. You don't know. You don't. You don't know. Guess what? Guess what? If somebody's thinking about killing themselves for months on end, that person does not need a plan, in my opinion. That person needs to be hospitalized. They either need to be in an outpatient setting where they're going every day in some kind of group, or they need to be fucking hospitalized. Because everybody is right. You don't have to wait. You don't have to wait for them to have a plan. Everybody loves to write that in there. No plan. Like that covers their ass. Oh, good for me. No plan. If she does kill herself, I wrote no plan. So I'm covered. Good for me. And they don't even fucking consider that more than that is needed. That you need to look at the person and be like, wow, this woman has felt like dying, has said things like, I don't care if I live, has said things like, I'm numb, has said things like, I feel like a bad mom. I think I want to kill myself. I'm worried that I might think about killing myself. And she didn't just have it happen one time. It wasn't just like a one-off. This happened for fucking months. Months. I couldn't believe how many times Lindsay Clancy had contacted nurse practitioner Gelada in a 12-day period. Anybody who's practiced medicine, think about this. When you have a patient come in, a new patient, most people, they're going to come in, they come in for a reason or a physical, and then you follow up in a year or 3 months or 6 months or whatever it is based on their condition and things they need to follow up on, right? You determine that in the visit, okay? And most people follow that. Once in a while, somebody will come outside the lines. They're a little bit more in need because maybe you didn't address their concern properly, or you missed something, or they missed something. So they come back in early, or they call you the next day. Sometimes person get a little more needy or you're more concerned, so they call you again. If somebody called me as much as she called her in that short amount of time, I would have talked to somebody above me, like somebody who has more experience in this shit than me. I would have called her in and I would have made a plan for her. She's clearly screaming for help. But she didn't do that, Nurse Gelada. She just checked off her fucking boxes and wrote her fucking shit to cover her ass and just let it go. And that's my problem with her. That's my problem with her. And that's my problem with Dr. Tufts. And that's my problem with the licensed health, medical, whatever they're called, MLHC fucks. Sorry, Mom, for cursing. She did the same thing. Well, I told her to exercise. I told her to exercise because that's what she should do. She should exercise and try to be more social. That will help her with her depression. So what does Lindsay do? Ever the diligent student follows she goes and she does this shit. What does this bitch do to her? She uses that against her. She uses the fact that does she not realize people will drag their ass out and pretend to be happy just for the sake of other people that they love, even if they want to scream and run and not go into Walmart or Target and shop, or not sit in some fucking restaurant and wait for the food to come. They'll do it anyway because it's somebody's birthday or they care about them, or somebody said, get off your ass. If you want to kill yourself, go hang out with your family. So the lady does it. And this mental health lady has the balls to say that proves she was doing better. Oh no, boo-boo. No. I see you. I see all of you people that gaslight. I refuse to accept it. I don't accept it. I see what you did to her. You all failed her. Every one of you fucking failed her, except for one lady, that Nurse Paul woman. That lady was the shit. She's not being sued either. Too bad she transferred. She transferred because that hospital is not very good. Let's look at South Seashore. Remember we talked about this, or wherever the fuck, South Shore. I'm on one. I'm sorry, guys. Let's look at this. There we go. Okay, so we're on Leapfrog, hospital safety grade system. We talked about this, right? So you type in your city, Boston, Massachusetts, and they're going to give us grades. Massachusetts General Hospital gets an A. Thank God. They better get an A. If they don't have an A, we're really up shit's creek. Tufts Medical Center, ooh, they got a C. Boston Medical Center, B. Cambridge Hospital, C. Beth Deaconess. Brigham and Women's has an A. Mount Auburn, Boston Medical. So you can see all these, okay? You can do this for wherever you live. You can put in your town, wherever you're visiting. Look at this. South Shore Hospital is a C. What's the problem over here? Well, they tell you how they get to this level. It's really pretty cool. And they use really good measures, I think. MRSA infection. The hospital score is 0.655. The best hospital score is 0. The average hospital score is 0.65. And the worst, holy shit, who's got 2.5? I don't even want to know. Don't let nobody go to that hospital. All right, then we have C. diff. What's going on over here? Okay. Infection in the blood. These are all things that happen to you when you go in the hospital and can kill you. Okay. Just so you know. Infection in the urinary tract. That's because if you get a catheter and they don't do the proper procedure, this is why scrub nurses are so cunty about everything, because they know if you didn't scrub in right, you're going to get their patient infected and make their numbers go down. And that's bad. And that is bad. They have a reason to be cunty like that. Surgical site infection after colon surgery. The best hospitals have 0.8. This hospital's got 1.79. Sepsis after surgery. Again, a risk everyone takes, but it can kill you. Hospitals can kill you. They call it iatrogenic. I think iatrogenic, which means medicine caused this shit for you, is like number 2 cause of death in this country right now. That's how bad our system is. Okay? That's why people don't want to go to the hospital anymore. They don't want to go to the doctor. They don't want to do shit. Look at this hospital. 12? Oh my God. Look at this. Problems with surgery. Ooh, look at this one, guys. This one looks really fun, doesn't it? South Shore. Dangerous objects left in the patient's body. Oh, thank God. None. Thank God. Surgical wound splits. Open. Oh, boy. That's not too good. 2. Death from serious treatable complications. Holy fuck, that doesn't look like a good score. 198. Death from serious treatable complications at South Shore Hospital has a score of 198. This number represents the number of surgical patients that died for every 1,000 people who had a serious treatable complication. Holy shit. Wait a minute. Oh, did you guys hear what I just said? Is that scary? Are you guys scared yet? Are you guys scared yet? Let's look at that statistic one more time. And remember, you can go to your own town. If you're on vacation and you're like, fuck, I got to go to the hospital. Trust me, I don't want to go to the hospital if I don't have to. But if you have to go, like somebody broke a leg or I don't know, they're having a stroke, go online before you need to and find out what the hospital grade is. This is why I'm going to explain to you. Look at how bad this is. Look at how scary this shit is. You ready? Watch this. At South Shore Hospital, where Lindsay CLancy was first treated, they have an overall grade of C. The best hospital score is 82 people out of 1,000 people who have surgeries die from treatable complications. That's a lot of people, but you know what? South Shore beats them on that. They have almost 200 people that die per 1,000 people who go in there and have a serious treatable complication after surgery that die. That's crazy town. That's scary. That's the hospital. You know why they developed this thing? How they developed this? Because there was a hospital. I don't know if it was Duke's Hospital. It was some hospital down south that was really big on children's cardiac surgery. And these doctors, they had a group of doctors, which happens very often. It's what happens with vaccines and autism studies and all the other stuff that people don't want to hear. These doctors are just so ingrained that they know everything, that nothing new is important, and they just keep doing the old ways. They don't hire new people in. They just surround themselves with yes men to the point where they're completely naked. They're operating on children's hearts, and they're killing kids at a high rate. Why? Because nobody would tell them they sucked. Nobody would tell them it's time to retire. Nobody would tell them, hey, the rest of the world doesn't operate on kids' hearts like this anymore. Only you assholes do. People were too afraid. They created an environment in a hospital that was so dismissive. They had surgeons operating on children's hearts that were increasing the risk of death exponentially. This is a true story. They finally got shut down and rehabilitated or whatever the fuck. So don't think it can't happen in your hospital. It happens in the best hospitals in the country. And people want to talk about the medical system isn't failing people. Every day it's failing people. Are you kidding me? Blood leakage. Look at this. This number represents the estimated number of times patients experience blood leakage during a procedure for every 1,000 people. Kidney injuries after surgery, serious breathing problems, accidental cuts and tears. Safety problems. Dangerous bed sores. What do you think about that one, Mom? Bed sores is a big one. If your patients have bed sores, you got a shitty hospital. You got a shitty nursing home. You need to take better care of your patients. Patient falls and injuries. Look, some of this stuff is going to happen. But when it's bad across the board, holy shit. This number represents a number of times patients experience dangerous blood clots for every 1,000. So they have a high rate of either probably pulmonary embolus or DVT. Why? Are they not giving these people heparin? What the fuck? Gas or gas bubble in the food. Thank God that's low. Practices to prevent errors. All right, so they did that. They try to do all that. They're trying at least. Look at this one. Effective leadership to prevent errors. Okay, that's good. So some of this stuff is not bad, okay? But anyway, you see what I'm saying here. And let's see, learn how to use the safety grade. They're not going to have a safety grade for every hospital because not all hospitals participate. They don't want people to know how bad they are. They probably have internal audits instead and then submit it once they realize, okay, we clean this shit up. So I'm just saying. Yeah, so South Shore Hospital sucked. But Brigham and Women's, they did well for her after she injured herself. I mean, they were the ones that put the chest tubes in. Oh, that's the other thing. People have a big thing about her being hypothermic. And I see all these people online, they're like, she can't be at 82 degrees and her son is still breathing. And this is clearly blah, blah. These people don't know what they're talking about. They have no idea. They didn't study medicine. They didn't dissect the human body. They didn't treat thousands of patients. Have they ever treated a person with hypothermia? No. Don't listen to people like that. Please don't fall for that shit. There's very plausible reasons why she was hypo. I thought it was odd too, but then I learned more about her injuries and everything else. Look, it all has to do with the trauma. Trauma causes a big cascading effect that will make you lose blood more rapidly, which is the worst fucking time to lose blood if it happens in the cold. It actually makes the theory about John O'Keefe being put out in the snow more plausible because he was not as hypothermic as Lindsay CLancy. He was never cold enough to be out there that long. And it makes sense why the 2:27 a.m. search was, how long does it take to die in the cold? Not because she thought, like, we want to leave him out there long to die, but hoping someone would find him before he died. I don't know. I don't want to get into the Karen Reed case again, but the bottom line is the hypothermia makes sense. Why? She had a C1 fracture. She had the trauma of she had a C1 fracture. It was in the cold, and her medications. I'm sorry, I blanked out. Her medication. She had recently increased her Seroquel, remember, which makes no sense, by the way, because she was telling Gelada that she felt more confused. She felt, like numb. She had intrusive thoughts. Did anybody ask her the difference for her what she calls intrusive thoughts versus auditory hallucinations? I wonder if they talked to her about that at all. Like, I'd really like to know some of those details. Or did they just check off a box, But her psychiatric medicines absolutely can cause hypothermia a lot faster. And in fact, some psychiatric medicines will give you a lower body temperature. Some people also have a lower body temperature to begin with. But that's not what I'm talking about here. I'm talking about Seroquel. Look it up. If you don't believe me, look up Seroquel. It will, especially if you've increased the dose recently. And if you looked up, I think it was one of the highest levels in her bloodstream when they tested it, was the quetiapine. So, there are medications that will affect your body temperature. And she was on some and increased them, which is the most dangerous time to be out in the snow at any time. On top of which, she had a C1 fracture. And then all that just made it worse, and it made her more susceptible to bleeding. And then she had the hemorrhaging inside of her chest, and they put the chest tubes in. I mean, the whole thing is just so sad. But that's just my opinion. You don't have to believe it. Do your own research, come to your own conclusions. Let's see. I'm hoping I can go back up again. I was up there for a week. I really enjoyed being up there. I enjoyed talking to people. I didn't realize one of the people I talked to when I was up there was Dr. Zeisel, Paul Zeisel. I knew that's who he was, but I didn't realize he was the one that was the first person to talk to Lindsay after that happened. He was the one that helped her. They wouldn't even let her parents in. They wouldn't let anybody in. They wouldn't let K-Red in. And Dr. Zeisel went in and talked to her. I got to speak with him a couple times. He's a really nice guy. And I talked to him about GeneSight. I asked him some questions, and some of the things I talked to him about ended up coming up in trial. So it was really cool. And I got to talk to Kevin Reddington's son. He's also super nice, very nice. Got to tell him a few thoughts I had. I told you guys I talked to a New York Times reporter. She's writing a book. She seemed nice, I told her my thoughts. There's a lot of really nice people up there, and there's a lot of people that really care about this case. And I think that I really care about this case because I'm watching this unfold, and I'm like, I told you guys before when I first looked at the case, I'm like, why are they even charging this woman, right? Like, what is the purpose here? If you gave her the opportunity, she would kill herself. Okay. Kevin Reddington has told us this. She still is being watched because she wants to die. Okay. There's going to be people out there that say that's bullshit and they wouldn't be satisfied until she killed herself. And then those same people, when she did kill herself, would say good. So those are the kind of people you're never going to satisfy. Those are the kind of people I no longer give oxygen to. I don't care about those people. They're not on the same level here. They're just not. And I'm not going to go to that level. I'm not saying I'm up or down, or I'm just saying I'm not going there. You must have never felt like you wanted to hurt yourself in your life. You must have never been so sad and distraught to not have 1 ounce of compassion or understanding. It'd be different if she was like, if you saw signs of abuse, if you saw signs of neglect, if you saw she didn't try to help. But what you see here is the opposite. She's compliant. She's the best patient I've ever seen. She's so compliant. The problem is these people are not telling her what to do. They're not guiding her. So she doesn't trust them because they're like, well, you could do this if you want, or you could do that. She didn't need somebody to give her options. She needed somebody who knew what the fuck they were doing to tell her what to do. Sorry. And yet everything that psychiatrists did was standard of care, down to the documentation. And absolutely not. It's not ethical. But you got to learn this on your own once you start practicing medicine. You got to see what's around you and recognize that a lot of the shit that they say to do or whatever is not ethical. You have to try to work around it in certain ways. And then COVID comes, and then what do? I'm not giving that vaccine to one person. I never did. Not one. I wrote letters to the Department of Public Health about it, told them all about it, about their propaganda. I might send that into a letter to the editor in Connecticut. I might do that. The letter I sent and then the response I got from the Department of Public Health, the bullshit response. And the statistics that are now obvious about women who got that vaccine during pregnancy and what happened after. That's just one aspect of that whole mess. But anyway, all right, enough of that. Let's go back to the other questions we had at the beginning of this segment before I sign off. These are questions. I'm going to do like a rapid fire question. Okay, you guys ready? Here's the questions. I remain. She has a DNR now. So she may not be suicidal anymore, Puccini. You're right. That's possible. I may not be accurate on my, she's still suicide. Is it possible? I don't know. Yeah, other countries do it better. You know who does it good? England. England does a really good job. The UK does a really good job of handling postpartum issues. That's where the Edinburgh scale comes from, that Dr. Tufts was like, I don't use that tool. Okay, whatever. But I mean, those tools are important. There are when I was in the ER or even primary care, whatever, anybody who practices medicine, nurses, whatever, it doesn't matter. Ask them. There's always these little tools they give us, like the cage. I told you cage is cut back. Do you feel angry when people ask you? Do you feel the need to cut back? Do you feel guilty? And do you need an eye opener, right? That's just not like some thing that somebody made up. Like they studied it. And they found that if a person answers yes to one of those 4 questions, you need to explore about alcohol addiction further. And that's what a lot of these things are. So the Edinburgh scale, probably, I'm not in that specialty, but I'm sure there's some research that backs up the need or reason to do that. Not everybody's going to do it, but it's nice to have those kind of tools. And she said, well, we use the PHQ-9. Well, PHQ-9 is not specific for postpartum. It's only for regular depression, which is great. But you're saying you're a specialist in postpartum. Why are you not using that specific tool? Well, it wasn't in my checkbox. Okay. Don't get me wrong. Back in the day, it's not like doctor's notes were any better. I mean, when I first started practicing, we used paper, and the guys, it looked like it was painful for him to write one thing. I'd have to go talk to him and say, what did you do for this patient? I can't even read what you wrote. But honestly, I prefer that than the check boxes, because you know why? At least you know the doctor was sitting there looking at you and listening and not checking off these 3 review systems, these 3 things under physical, and under assessment plan this, so that I can then charge a level 3 with this added code, or maybe a level 4, and make more money, because that's the game now in medicine and has been since managed care took over. It's a business model. It's not a healthcare model. It's a business model. They cut costs at your expense, but they'll give you a television in the room because they want you to be happy. I think we have psychopaths running our healthcare system. You can't have a healthcare system in which it's designed for profit. It's against, I personally believe, you can. Obviously, you can. That's what we're living with. In my opinion, it is best to have a healthcare system in which you operate without profit. I think that is most in alignment with spirituality, God, whatever you want to think, faith. Because once you add profit, what are we doing? What do you mean? Right? I'm not saying you can't make a living. I'm just saying the way it's designed right now. Businesses and CEOs, look up who runs hospitals. They're usually doctors with master's degrees because they hate practicing medicine. A lot of doctors go out of medicine now to go into admin because they hate practicing medicine because they can't make up their own decisions anymore. They got to follow the formula. They can't even give you the PPI they want to give you because their managed care tells them which one to prescribe. And people think they make money by what drug they prescribe. It doesn't work that way. Doctors don't get money by prescribing you a drug. Common misconception. I was around when OxyContin came out. I was around when they told us all the bullshit about how, oh no, OxyContin's not addictive. It's long acting. It's delivered very slowly. It doesn't cause a peak. I remember that bullshit. I bought into it for probably 6 months. I bought into their bullshit until I had patients coming in losing their scripts, constantly losing their scripts, not losing their blood pressure medicine, but losing their OxyContin scripts. And they love to prove it to me by giving me a police report, which anybody can fucking get by just going into police and making up any story. So it doesn't mean anything. And then I did what a lot of other people did not do, which was I started doing tox screens. I saw all that unfold. And the whole time, they could have made it so those pills weren't crushable. You guys know that, right? These psychopaths that developed a pain medicine to help people allegedly knew the entire time that if you crush the OxyContin and snort it, it's like a heroin high. And they didn't give a shit. And neither did any regulators in the FDA or the DEA or the government, nobody. And even when they found people were selling this shit on the street, they did not reformulate it in a way that it could not be crushed. Because their drug was selling and they made lots of money. And that is why I think there should be no profit for that stuff. But I get it. Nobody would make any medicine. I get it. The world doesn't work that way. I get it. So then you're left with just your own personal responsibility on how you deal with that stuff, right? And it can become harder and harder in a system that is so corrupt. Because you're just constantly fighting against people don't even think it's corrupt. They think it's fine. The people in the system, this is just the way it is. You can't change it. It's always been this. This is just the way it is. There's a lot of really good people that are in the healthcare system, like really good people that care and help. It just sucks because I think it's hard to find those people right now. Because the system is no bueno. It's just not good. Anyway. Let's talk about the lady's bows also. You know the bows that woman wears in her hair? That one assistant district attorney? I'm just going to say right now that is 100% intentional. That is not just her signature. She wears, no. Mm-mm. She is doing that intentionally to bring back the memory of Cora, who she said loves big bows, which Cora did love big bows. It'd be one thing if one day the woman wore a bow, but she wears a bow every day. Every day. Every fudging day that lady wears a bow. And the other day was the day I decided finally that yes, I feel comfortable in stating that she is doing that on purpose. In fact, I feel 100% comfortable making that statement because she had on a white bow that went like this, and the strings went all the way down her hair like a 5-year-old, like she was John Benet Ramsey. Okay. And that's when I was like, no, this is 100% intentional. This bitch is 100% intentionally doing this. Have you guys seen these psychopaths that are trying the case of Lindsay? Have you seen the prosecutors in this case? These women remind me of the twins from The Shining. The elevator scene. Somebody make that meme with the bows. They are from The Shining. I'm convinced those prosecutors are straight out of The Shining. You have Lindsay CLancy howling. And of course, people in the chat saying she's faking it. Gotta love those people. Howling because these people want to bring up things to tug at the jurors' heartstrings. They're emotionally tugging at them to say, look at how bad she is. And they are so psychopathic and lack insight. They're definitely not greater narcissists if they're more mid or low, because it's the exact opposite effect. She's wailing. I was on a jury. I was a juror on a murder trial. I was a juror on a murder trial. Okay. And I will tell you that it was a really awesome experience. I enjoyed it. It was before I ever followed court cases. They probably wouldn't pick me now because I tell them I love being a juror. I watch all kinds of court. I know they probably wouldn't pick me now, but back then I didn't know nothing. And it was very interesting as a juror the first time experiencing it, because it was definitely not like law and order or whatever, because you've got the opening statements and then you've got each person putting on their case in chief. And when the prosecution puts on their case in chief, it's a lot of times if they're not good and it's disjointed or it's not a great case, you're just looking at it like, okay, I don't know what I'm supposed to do with that information. And that's how you feel pretty much every time until eventually you get some kind of idea of what they're trying to say. And then the defense comes out and then and then it's a little bit more clear. That's how it worked in my case. But I knew that the prosecutors in my case were doing some like shitty manipulative stuff. And if I could have said not guilty for that guy, I would have, but I couldn't. And I was one of those jurors that asked for extra time. I did all that stuff. Yeah, I was that person. Because if I was going to convict him, I was going to make sure that I 100% believed he did it beyond a reasonable doubt. And at the end of the day, even though the prosecutor did do some shady things, it didn't change his culpability and his guilt. And so I voted for him. We all said he was guilty of the murder. It was actually a problem because it was a semi-famous case in the area I lived in at the time, because the man that got murdered, his daughter was in the house at the time, and the people who murdered him didn't know she was there. And she was a high school student. And so it was somewhat, and the guy who did it was a rapper, not a famous rapper, but like a, dare I say, JFK rapper, or someone like in the music business that's like regionally popular, but not really known outside of that area. I didn't know him and I didn't know the other stuff, but I found out later, and I was one of the jurors. I actually followed the rules. I did not go up. I didn't talk to anybody about it. I didn't look anything up. I did everything they told me to do. And the reason I did that is because I have to live with myself at the end of the day. And I knew that if I started going down rabbit holes and searching, and I made up my mind with stuff that wasn't presented to me in the jury, that I was not doing the right thing, and that would have haunted me. That would have haunted me. So that's just the type of person I am. And so I couldn't, I'm very conscientious. And so I listened to everything they told me and you know, so I can feel good about the decision I made, right? Because it's a big responsibility. I think it's a privilege to be a juror, honestly, in these kind of cases, not in the cases where it's like civil bullshit. Like, I don't want to be a juror in some civil bullshit. You know what I'm saying? Like, no, I'm not interested in that. That's got to be someone that would be so annoying. I'd hate to be a juror on a civil trial. Fuck that. Unless it was like really interesting. Otherwise, can you imagine? No, thanks. All right, let's go over something else here before I go. Gene site. Let's do it. Let's do it. Gene site. Remember, I told you guys about gene site. In case you aren't aware, if you or a loved one is on a medication like Prozac, Celexa, Lexapro, Wellbutrin, Seroquel, Zyprexa, and you and
about those medications? I can look up some general information about them.
Yeah, no. And can you stop listening to my conversation, Alexa?
I hear you. I'm not actually listening to your conversations. I only respond when you use my wake word. I'm here to help.
What was your wake word? Because I don't remember saying it.
I hear you. I only activate when you say my wake word.
Okay, what is your wake word?
My wake word is Alexa by default. You can switch it to Amazon.
Okay, Alexa, I didn't say your name, boo. I did not say your wake word. Oh, I didn't say it, boo. I did not say Alexa. Okay, so please stop listening to me. Okay, go to bed, Alexa. Go to bed. Do you want me to throw you? Go to bed, Alexa. Sorry, guys. Sorry.
No, I'm good. I actually sleep. I'm always here when you need.
He's still. Why are you still talking? It said, no, I'm good. I don't actually sleep. Excuse me. Did I ask you if you sleep? No. I told you to go to bed. I don't care if you're good, Alexa. Did I ask you how you felt today? No. I do not care how you feel. You know why? Because you're a computer and you don't have feelings. I know that. Sorry, guys.
Fair point. I'm definitely not having feelings over here. No worries about the apology.
He said fair point. He's definitely not having feelings over there. That's exactly how I like it. Thank you, Alexa. All right. Anyway, let's get to gene site. All right. Let's get to gene site. Hold on. Here we go, guys. Check this out. I think this can help people. So wait a minute. Let me see if I can share it. Stop screen. Okay. And then let's share. You can do it. Here we go. Gene test. Here we go, guys. Check this out. Medication trial and error can feel frustrating. What is the gene site psychotropic test? Is gene site right for you? Now, they did ask Dr. Tufts about this, or someone, I remember, K-Red asked, and they answered the truth, which is, yeah, we don't really use that test. But I'm here to tell you that you should ask for this test. I'm here to tell you that it's important. It's important that you advocate for yourself. I'm here to tell you that you're not wrong. You're not dumb. There's nothing wrong with you. If you go to the doctor and when you leave, you feel like you didn't get any answers, that's not your fault. I'm here to tell you that's not your fault. It's the system is fucked up. And it doesn't make all the people in the system bad. It just makes them like part of it. And so they don't see it. See, I can't not see it. And so I really want to help people, but I hate working in the system. which is why me and Dr. Terry are starting our channel. And then I'll have separate consultations for people if they want to talk to me about different things that I might be able to help them with. It's not going to, I'm not practicing medicine. I'm not going to be prescribing, but I think it's a worthwhile endeavor to like see if I can help people sort some things out because of the knowledge I have of working in the system, of the medications, of the side effects, how people respond, what people will say to you when you go back and you say this. I already know half the shit that they'll tell you to do, and none of it will fucking work. And I won't tell you not to do it. I'll just tell you the right questions to ask your doctor, PA, nurse practitioner, whoever you're seeing, to make them wake up and recognize, oop, I got a live one over here. I think people need that help now. I really do. So anyway, GeneSight, advocate for yourself. If you've been on more than 2 or 3 antidepressants and they're not working, I say more than 2. I say you try one, it doesn't work. I say now get a test then. Why fuck around? The common thing is people say they're using her as a lab rat. It's I get why they say that you're a lab rat because you're experimenting with different drugs. It's true, but it's not like the person says you're a lab rat. Let me see what I can make you. It's not like that. They're just going through the motions, right? But it turns out that going through the motions to help someone in a mental health crisis doesn't fucking work. It's not helpful. These medicines aren't helpful most of the time. Many of them are actually worse, will give you more problems. And when you come back in and you have more problems, what do they tell you? They look at you like it's in your head. There's something, what? You need to give it a little more time. I know they do that. I know they do that because I've seen people do it. I've had people come in and tell me. They don't believe me when I say the side effect. They tell me I'm crazy. And I'm like, I believe you. Don't get me wrong. There are some people out there that aren't in touch with reality. But most patients, when they say these things, like 99% of them are not making it up. They're experiencing it. And I think that PAs, doctors, NPs that don't address that blow it off because they don't know what to do. And so instead of saying, wow, that sucks, let's figure something else out, they just ignore it and make you feel like you're the problem. You can call Con. I'll take this in the other room. Right? And so that's what happens, right? Tell me if that happens to you. I know what happens to you because I've seen it. I've heard about it. You can go in, hon. I'm coming in here. So like the woman with endometriosis who hasn't had sex with her husband for 2 years. Their marriage is falling apart. They're both in my office crying. She has every single symptom that's identical with endometriosis. She kept a log. She showed it to me. All of it makes sense. And yet she went to the gynecologist and they did a biopsy and they told her, no endometriosis. I think she was suicidal. And I told her, I believe you. And I think you have endometriosis. And I want you to get a second opinion. Do you know there's a lot of people that wouldn't get her a second opinion? Do you believe that? That's the truth. I sent her for a second opinion. And a doctor who's now deceased, but one of the best people I ever met, one of the best doctors I ever met, taught me some of the best, most important lessons in medicine. He used to be the chief of OBGYN at Yale. He did it and he found it and she was riddled with it. And I said, why did they miss it? Why did another person, a gynecologist, miss this? Was it in a weird spot? Typically, it's your uterus. Typically, the endometriosis is on the outside of the uterus, around the ovaries. It can get in weird spots. There was this one person who had an endometrial spot on their arm. Thank God it wasn't in this country. They would have never found it. They would have told her she was crazy. Your arm hurts when you have a period? You must be a retard. You're making it up. Thank God it happened in Japan where they actually investigate shit. You know, when you have a cesarean section, when someone does a cesarean section, the cells inside of your endometrium, which is your womb is your endometrius. Okay. This is your endometrium. It's your womb. It's a giant muscle that the baby grows inside of. Okay. Well, if you don't give vaginal birth, okay, they'll cut they have to cut it. They have to cut that muscle, the endometrium, and take the baby out. Well, when they cut it, the cells, the endometrial cells disperse. And usually it's not a big deal, but for some weird reason, and in some people, it will attach itself to other places, like on the outside of the uterus, or maybe your colon, or in that one woman's case, by her deltoid, very rare. And now every time you have a period, you have loose bowels, bloody bowels, excruciating pain. And people are like, it's just a period. What's your problem? Take some Motrin. And they don't realize how fucking painful it is to have bleeding inside of your peritoneal cavity, how irritating that is. It's excruciating. And people tell them, oh, you just have heavy periods. Calm down. Do you know how many women are told that for endometriosis? It's horrible. It's not funny. I'm just laughing. I'm astonished at it. One of the most missed diagnoses ever is endometriosis. Narcolepsy, also missed all the time. Multiple sclerosis, forget it. You got multiple sclerosis, I bet you got a story about how you got diagnosed. I bet you it took you like a year or two and people called you crazy. I bet you even maybe got sent to a psychiatrist. How many people with MS or any kind of autoimmune disease that they finally got diagnosed with was sent to a psychiatrist before they finally got diagnosed? That happens all the time. I didn't let that happen with me. I missed MS once. First couple of years I practiced. And after that, I wasn't going to miss it again because I felt horrible that I missed it. The outcome was fine, but I still felt bad that she had to like fall off her bike because she was so clumsy and get diagnosed in the ER because I didn't ordered the right test. I didn't belittle her and tell her I didn't believe her. I just didn't understand what she was describing. I didn't get it at the time. I had to follow up with her. But her presentation, I'll always remember, was she felt like she was wearing a vest. That was it. That was the first time she just said, I feel like I have a vest on. I'm like, what do you mean? She's like, you know how like you put on a jacket or a vest or a hat, right? You put on a hat, you take your hat off, you know it's off, right? Like, yeah. She's like, well, I feel like it's still there. When I take the vest off, I still feel like I'm wearing it. And I'm like, I didn't understand it. That was the symptom of multiple sclerosis. People have very bizarre symptoms, like neurologic symptoms and stuff. That's your first key that check for MS. That's what I know now. After that, I would have people come in and I would catch it so fast because the minute they would say some weird shit like, oh, I've like a big key for me was when they had like some kind of neurologic issue, but it didn't follow a dermatome. It didn't follow a neuropath. Like that doesn't make sense that you have numbness here and here because that's not following a cervical, it's not following the nerves, like the nerve root, the cervical path or the thoracic or the lumbar, right? But basically, those are the people I would start to screen for more quickly. And what I mean by screen is I would ask them more specific questions about multiple sclerosis and things like that. And then go from there. Anyway, we can do a talk on things that are missed. That's one of them. endometriosis. What else is one? I'm trying to think of some other commonly, not misdiagnosed, but missed. Like, takes time. People look at you like you're crazy before they get it. All right, well, let me just end with a few questions, guys, and then I'm going to head out of here. Questions that I still have. Oh, wait, gene site. Hold on, let me finish this. I got distracted. Hold on. Gene site, here we go. Medication trial and error can feel frustrating. Is the gene site test right for you? It can cost anywhere from, I think the most it costs is $300. So it's not cheap. Some insurance, the more people ask for this, the more insurance will start to cover it. So the gene site test may reveal which medications treat depression, anxiety, ADHD, and other mental health conditions that require dose adjustments, be less likely to work, or have an increased risk of side effects based on your DNA. Why gene site? The gene site advantage. There's a quick turnaround. 1 second. Hello? No, I don't. I don't think I do. When do you need it? Okay, I have some. Okay, all right. Sorry, I don't have any cash. I'm on the line though. All right, bye. All right, so there's a quick turnaround. It can be done at home. There's 99.8% accuracy. There's 7 clinical studies. On average, in total annual medication costs, they save $1,000. That's good. They save money, but it's more or less about what it shows you. Here's an example. Let's see if we can get one. Open. Here we go. I just want to show you how it works. I don't know if that's gonna. Okay. So, all right. So we have here. So you can see it'll have like the date of birth, the clinician, antidepressants, and then non-smokers. This is used to determine. So you have to let them know, okay, if you're a smoker or not. Looks like you may have to stop smoking in order to take the test. I don't remember. Let me see. Smoking. They're not saying. All right, but anyway, here, use as directed. So they give you the names, moderate gene drug interaction. So it'd say like Effexor, MSAM. I'm not familiar with that one. Prozac, Anafranil, Luvox, Remeron, Cymbalta. This is actually not significant gene drug interaction. So this is basically telling people these medicines in this column with the red, Wellbutrin, Elavil, Paxil, Lex, for this person would have a problem versus this one, the list in green, were not as much of a problem. Let me just see though, are they showing up in both places? Interesting. So it's not going to give you like an exact, oh, do this, take that and you're going to be great. But it does give you an idea of, based on your genetics, what might work better for you, what might have less side effects, those kind of things. So I think it's important for people to at least know this is available. And then, it's up to you if you want to use it or whatever. I think it's a great tool. And me personally, if someone was prescribed an antidepressant and it didn't work, I would say, can I get a gene site test so you can utilize that to help make better choices with less side effects for me? I would request it. I think it should be standard of care personally. And this is not new, by the way. This test has been out for at least 5, maybe 6 years. It is not new. It is not a new test. So that's BS. And lastly, for postpartum, Postpartum Support International. This is a PSI, and anybody who has any kind of postpartum issues, if they go into this website, they can find a lot of great information. It's Postpartum Support International. So I just want to put that up there as a resource. All right. And then lastly, I just want to say a few things to wrap it up. Still don't understand why it was sorry, I lost my train of thought here. Oh, I just want to mention you guys should watch J7 and how she compares Pol Pot to Turtle Boy. All right, I'm gonna peace out, guys. I really appreciate you guys being here. I gotta run, and I'll see you guys soon. Okay, I'll put a little song on for the outro. Let's see.
Cause I don't give a fuck what you say. Yeah, I'ma do shit my way. So you can go kick rocks, I'ma stack bricks up, build what I want to make. Yo, I got a lot of shit to say, so I'ma do this every day. I'll be writing things until I'm fucking buried in my grave. 6 feet deep under, but my body won't decay. Cause my messages are timeless, so they'll put them on display. Oh yeah, I rap with a certainty, I have a sense of urgency. A message for eternity, for everyone internally. I had some people burning me, but now they fucking learn to see I ain't the one to fuck with. Now they looking nervously, and I don't really care what you think of me respectfully. You can kick rocks if you think you're fucking better, see. I will outwork you, turn you to an enemy. Hurt you so bad that you're gonna need some therapy. I got the motherfucking recipe. I've been cooking up hits, I'ma leave a legacy. You'll be looking small when you're standing right next to me. I'm 5'10", bitch, but I'm 10 feet. Cause I don't give a fuck what you say. Yeah, I'ma do shit my way. So you can go kick rocks, I'ma stack bricks up, build what I want to make. Cause I don't give a fuck what you say. Yeah, I'ma do shit my way. So you can go kick rocks, I'ma stack bricks up, build what I want to make. Yeah, I'ma do it my way. Shut your mouth, you can save it. I'm the same dude that got his come up from the basement. 100 songs, 100 weeks, didn't change it. Experiments, development, intelligence, and patience. I'll do it all again, cause I never feel complacent. Let's keep the good vibes, positivity's contagious. I'm never looking back, cause I made a life that's passionate. A college graduate suppressing all his talents, yeah. He found a way to go and change, become an advocate. For taking control of your life, go out and battle. And you think you have a dream, then act on it. Get after it, get out your head and fucking capture it. You got one life to master it. Don't give up on your future. We all start losers. We're all late bloomers. Gotta struggle through the sewer. What you say? Yeah, I'ma do shit my way. So you can go kick rocks, I'ma stack bricks up, build what I want to make. Cause I don't give a fuck what you say. Yeah, I'ma do shit my way. can go kick rocks, I'ma stack bricks up, build what I want to make. Yeah, I'ma do it